Yo, what's up, everybody? We're back with another banger. We're doing another Polyphia song this week. I'm your host, Saint Aria, and welcome to Simple Songwriting. So this song is Chimera by Polyphia featuring Lil West. This is a very cool song. So this came from Remember That You Will Die, which was their last album that came out in 2022. This was a really cool song. So that album overall was a very diverse album, a lot of different genres and styles combined onto one record. But this song, I think more so than any other song on the record, kind of captures the spirit of it. This song is super diverse, a whole lot of different genres crammed into one. You know, takes a lot of creative risks, and it has collaboration with another artist, a rap artist, which that was a big part of that album, was bringing in all these different unique artists for different types of songs. Apparently, and I remember, listening to this song when it came out, like the night it came out, I was very excited for that album. And this song was apparently supposed to be the lead single. But I think that there was a few issues. First off, I think they said that they were dissatisfied with the music video, which I can kind of see after seeing the music video. I feel like there was a vision there and maybe they just didn't quite nail it. And then on top of that, I think that the song got leaked early in advance. So they made the decision, especially because of Tim's, album 4 teaser on the nylon string going pretty viral, or like still getting a lot of views. They switched it over to making the lead single Playing God, which turned out to be a very fortuitous decision, which, that's their most popular song. And it's like a very, very good song, like an iconic song, in my opinion, like a defined, a generational song in terms of like guitar playing. So yeah, it was a great move for their career, but it doesn't mean that this song is necessarily bad. It's not as good as Playing God, but I do think it was the right move to not make this song the lead single. We're going to get into it, but personally, I really like this song. I think it's super cool. And in fact, I think that I don't want to spoil it. We'll get into it, but there's a lot of things that I really, really like about this song. With that said, there are some issues with this song that aren't inconsequential. So there's some pretty big issues with it, which is why I think it probably wouldn't have made as much of a splash as Playing God. So yeah, we're going to get into it, but I'm excited to talk about this one. Trying to think if there is anything else to say. I don't think so. Let's just get started. I want to just jump in and talk about it. So we'll start with the start. Cool. Okay, so we jump right in with this sort of a flamenco riff. It's like a flamenco-esque, right? It's got a little bit of like heavy metal elements in there. This section is what I would call the chorus. Unlike Can You Feel It? I feel like the song Can You Feel It was more based around those two musical motifs, like a main riff and then like a secondary musical motif, which was just that like dun 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 dun, that thing. This song is a little bit more normally structured in the sense that it has a chorus, verse, a pre-chorus, and some bridge and interlude sections as we get later into the song. This riff itself is a very cool riff, but I have to be honest, I do think it's just a tad bit underwhelming compared to a lot of the other guitar work on Remember That You Will Die, especially considering what they're capable of doing with the nylon string. My issue with this riff is that the like sort of musical foundation of it is this back and forth between the root note and the other notes of the chord. So doom-ba, 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 that kind of doom-ba, 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 doom-ba. Again, it sounds really cool. Like, it's not like they did a bad job. They did a really good job with the riff. And there's enough variation in there to keep it interesting. But that foundation of it just being kind of like do da 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 do da, that's really common. And it might not be common to this level of technicality, but it is a very common format for musicianship, for like music basically. And, you know, compare that to something like Playing God, which is this crazy melody that, you know, covers the entire range of the guitar, but in a way that's very fluid. You're hitting the rhythm notes, you're hitting various melodies throughout it, you're hitting harmonics and all of these different things. You know, the main riff for Playing God, I would say, is like a brilliant riff, right? And in a lot of ways, whereas this feels a little bit watered down and just a little bit underwhelming. I think what's funny is that, you know, for all of the talk with Tim being like the nylon guy, this is really the only other nylon riff on Remember That You Will Die, not counting the intro to Ego Death. I feel like the main riff for Ego Death was, I don't know, maybe that would be a nylon riff, but I don't know. I feel like the Ego Death riff, so to speak, is more of a like a motif that they carry out throughout the entire song. I don't know. I'm not talking about Ego Death. We're talking about this song. So even if we include Ego Death, the intro to Ego Death, there's only 3 nylon riffs on the entire, there's, aside from Playing God, like along with Playing God, there's just this riff and Ego Death. That's what I'm trying to say. So when you go and you listen to some of the other songs that they scrapped, which was a lot of nylon work. I mean, honestly, it kind of blows me away when they play the scrapped songs, or like Never Gonna Come Out songs from Remember That You Will Die. There's just all of these brilliant nylon string songs that just got left on the table, which I don't know. Call me crazy, but I think it's insane that some of those songs didn't make it on the album. Even though, you know, there's this one that they just played. If you go and listen to their live stream that they did for Can You Feel It, the nylon riff that they played there from Remember That You Will Die was just like God tier. It was like a phenomenal riff. And so they have their metric of quality. They have their thing that they're doing, and obviously they're doing something right. But I don't think that this riff in particular is quite as good as some of those other nylon riffs on songs that didn't make it, and it certainly isn't as good as Playing God. So yeah, I'm not saying this is bad. I'm being a little nitpicky on this one. I'm saying compared to some of their other stuff, I don't think it's quite as interesting or quite as good. All that said, it is a very good riff, very cool. It's got this dark ethereal vibe, which mainly comes from the mode. So the main chord that we start off on is an E flat major. It screws me up on this song because everything's down a half step. So even though you're playing what would normally be considered an F chord on the nylon is tuned down half a step. So you're playing an E major there. So this song is in E Lydian, but then they use a lot of E flat major, which kind of gives it like so a little bit of theory talk on this riff, just so you understand. E Lydian is the relative minor scale for E Lydian is A flat minor. The dominant chord, the relative dominant to A flat minor, is E flat major. Okay? Why am I saying all of this? Basically, the idea that I'm making clear to y'all is that they have Lydian, E Lydian, which is a very ethereal, open. It's a little bit major. It's very close to the major scale, but with a tritone, which gives it a little extra tension. So it has a sort of like somber, ethereal sound to it. And then by having that E major chord or E flat major chord, that gives it almost like a harmonic minor or a dominant sound, which gives it a bit of darkness and a bit of tension. So that Lydian basis kind of gives us the ethereal sound, but the E flat major, which we get, all throughout this, which comes in sporadically throughout the chords, give it that dark, tense sound. And this chord progression essentially carries throughout at least the first half of the song. And so I think that's a good way to describe the tone of this song, which is this dark, ethereal tone. And it comes from the Lydian and the harmonic minor. A little bit of theory. If you don't know music, that, hopefully that made a little bit of sense. You know, you can look it up if you'd like, but that's generally what's happening there. So on top of the chords, or on top of the guitar part, which the guitar part is very fast, it's very intense, very difficult to play. It's a cool part, but on top of the guitar part, we get this very ambient synth that starts off immediately with it. Listen. Hear that? Like, it's I would almost consider it like a hollow synth or something like that, right? Where it's kind of like echoing, lots of reverb, very reverby, very delay. Listen beyond the guitar and listen for that synth. You hear that? Ooh. On top of that, and maybe the more noticeable synth part, which I don't even know if it's a synth, it's something though, it's some type of production, is that like scratching, eerie, it almost sounds like breathing, that like something like that, right? You hear a little bit of like bubbling there, but then I think it's like right in this next section when I press play, you'll hear it's like, you hear that? It's very tense. It's really, really eerie. It sounds very otherworldly to me. And when you think about even the name of the song, Chimera, which the idea behind a chimera is like, there's a meta meaning to it, which is that they're combining different styles into this one song. But then also the imagery that they used for this track, because each song had like a track to it or had an image that was custom made for it. The image is based on, I think it's the Great Dragon, which is a painting, I don't know the artist, but it's a painting of the devil basically from behind. And so you see a 3D rendering of this image in the music video. And it's like, there's like bubbling flesh and it looks like this alien creature, very, very eerie looking creature. And so, you know, you could say that it's like a chimera. It's this creature, right? Otherworldly creature. And I think that sound that they have there fits perfect. So then right there, about halfway through the riff, the guitar part doubles, and then we get this choir that comes in, which sounds really nice. It's a really cool choir. Listen for that. It's like, oh, da, da, da. Cool. So that's our intro, which is really the chorus riff, and it sets up, you know, that guitar part's going to be played multiple times. So we've got our main chorus riff, and that brings us into what I would consider the verse. So let's play that section now. All right, so before I even get into like the theory and all of that, this verse section, it really is like, I think this is some of the best work on the whole album. I think it's some of the best, I think it's truly innovative and like truly unique in terms of like what a band is capable of doing. I don't even know if I could praise it enough. It is honestly like it's like a whole new genre of metal. Whatever they're doing here, it's obviously like influenced by trap, but not really. I mean, if you listen to that drum part, it's not really playing a trap beat. I mean, you could maybe say it's trap influence, but it's not like playing that the trap beat comes in the pre-chorus. But yeah, I mean, in general, I think that the idea of having this fluid 8-string low guitar, it's almost like a solo, but it's because it's a continuous stream of notes. There's no repeats, but the way that that it's so raw and heavy, but also like very melodic and fluid and technical, but in a way that's very musically appealing. The rhythms are super weird. The way that he's playing is very interesting and engaging. The drums are really cool. Like this, honestly, it feels like a whole new genre of metal. And I think that they actually recognized that to a degree, because I hear a lot of this section in particular in that new single, in Can You Feel It? You know, a lot of influence there with this. I would almost think of it like liquid metal, like liquid sounding 8-string low guitar parts, very fluid playing. So it's very heavy, but also with a lot of like that, you know, a lot of melody and a lot of cool components that are unique to Polyphia. So anyway, that's just like my synopsis. I think this is an incredibly creative section. One of the highlights on the album for me. So let's break it down. So first off, we have the guitar. So there's an 8-string guitar. This composition is a free-flowing composition. There's no repeats. So it's like it's a verse, right? And it's almost like a solo in a way but it's like a low 8-string solo. It's very dark. It's very low, mid-rangey. The guitar sound is very thick and heavy. It's not like some mid. It doesn't sound like like the mids were scooped or anything like that. It sounds very. It sounds very fat and bloated, just, you know, really cool. Compositionally, we're still following that same chord progression that we had before. So, which is again, that kind of Lydian with a little bit of harmonic minor in there. Yeah, one of the things that makes this section sound so unique is that on basically every note, he does what I would call like a quick bend, like boing, boing. It's where you just bend the string really fast. It's almost like a quick little motion, similar to like picking the string with your right hand, but you're gonna bend the string with your left hand. You can hear it really well on the first 2 notes, which by the way are an E flat and an E, which again kind of combines that like, you know, harmonic minor and Lydian sound, because E is Lydian, E flat is the harmonic minor chord. Anyway, whatever, forget me. So you hear that brown, brown. So it's not just da da, it's down, down. And I think that's what gives the section, again, it kind of fits that otherworldly sound of like, there's no normal notes. Every single note has this like twisted bend to it, which gives it a unique, very, very unique sound. You know, brown, 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 brown. Super, super cool. Very fluid sounding, but then interlaced with that, they have these sections where he does like a very staccato, you know, you know, just like that, which kind of, it's a cool juxtaposition, right, between these fluid, bendy, twisted sounding notes, and then like these almost robotic staccato, you know, fastly or quickly picked notes. I also want to note that the tone of the guitar is such that the accents of those picked notes stick out really well. So it's not like blurred. I know sometimes guitar tones can get so heavy that the pick actually hitting the strings and playing the strings can get mushed or washed away. That's not the case here. It's very apparent. Listen for the articulation in those fast picked notes. Like that. And then all throughout, you get these little pieces of production as well. That's probably the most significant one. I think there might be one more. No, I'm thinking of the second verse. So yeah, I mean, it's just a really awesomely composed section. I love this section. I can't rave enough about it. I think it's so cool. It's so interesting to listen to. Yeah, on top of that, the drums, they are like foundationally, it's a trap beat, but there's a lot more to it. He's kind of composed his whole drum part around the guitar. So it's as much of like a drum solo as it is a guitar solo. And again, solo doesn't even feel like the right word to use, but it's kind of what it is. And listen for those kicks as well. This is very, very unusual in a song that's like heavy and dark and uses an 8-string distorted guitar, to have the kicks be so minimal. But that, again, the tone for the song is like a dark ethereal, and so having the kicks be very sparse not only gives the song a whole lot of space, but it also makes it more impactful when they come in, you know? And yeah, and in so many ways, the guitars are following along, or the drums are following along with the guitar riff without overshadowing it or overpowering it or losing the beat. So cool. Such innovative drumming, like really amazing drumming. Yeah, and I think, again, that trap beat leaves a lot of space. This section is amazing because of how much open space there is, and yet how like unique and interesting it is to listen to. Really cool. Yeah, I can't go through every single note here. I would love to spend more time on it, but you know, I mean, we're already like, I can't spend forever, guys, but I would recommend going and getting the tabs and just looking at how this section was composed and like looking at the different things that are happening on the tablature. It's so cool, and it's so interesting to look through. Yeah, I love this. And luckily this, you know, this is like the beginning of it. We get much more throughout this song. So yeah, let's keep going. But yeah, overall, this shit is fucking great. Shit. There we go. Sorry. I forgot how short that one was. Okay, so that's the pre-chorus. The pre-chorus maintains a very similar sound to before, to the verse, but it evolves a bit. So whereas the verse has, it's essentially just Scott and Clay, the drummer, maybe a little bit of the bass. Is there bass in the verse, actually? Hold on, sorry. We're going to take it back just a little bit. Shit. See, I don't know if I'm hearing any bass guitar. I'm hearing maybe a little bit of an 808 paired with the kick, but I don't know if I'm hearing bass guitar. You definitely hear the bass guitar on this pre-chorus. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, it sounds great, and the bass guitar is mixed with an 808 basically on this whole album. Super cool. Okay, so with this pre-chorus though, the most notable thing is that we get a second guitar part that comes in, and it starts off playing 1 octave up. I think it starts off playing an octave up, and then it matches the low guitar for a split second, and then it goes 2 octaves up. So it matches it there. Okay, so it goes 1 octave up first. It starts off 1 octave up, then goes 2 octaves up, and then matches it later. Yeah, they're playing the same thing there. So I think that the single octave up sounds really good. I will say, I think when it goes 2 octaves up on those really high notes, like right about here. I think it does sound just a little sparse. It sounds just a tad bit like kind of in its own world, if that makes sense. Like it sticks out a little bit. It doesn't sound bad. And I mean, again, this is all fantastic shit overall. So don't think I'm being like, I'm being very nitpicky with some of this. I'm just saying like, it does seem to stick out a little bit more than I think maybe it should, but it's not bad. It still sounds really cool. The drums do switch to a more like standard trap beat, like a consistent hi-hat, closed hi-hat rhythm. So yeah, pretty cool. And yeah, the riff stays, it's a similar type of riff as before, but whereas that verse section was almost meant to throw you off a little bit, like just throw curveballs your way all throughout and be really weird sounding, this seems to have a bit more of a defined groove to it, yeah, it just seems to flow a little bit better. Like we're you know, we're kind of bringing it back to normal a little bit because it is a pre-chorus. We're coming back around to the flamenco guitar, so it makes sense. But yeah, that's just how it feels to me. But it feels like a natural evolution of the verses of the verse. That's what I would say. The last thing I'd note is that there is the synth playing, and it's kind of a very noteworthy synth for this song. Which, I mean, I'll get to it why in just a second. But yeah, it's like this. It's almost like a rubber band synth or something, you know, wow, 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 something like that. Like it's going back and forth, similar to the guitar. It's yeah, I don't know what to call that necessarily. It's just this quick, smooth synth. It has like the really high frequencies kind of filtered out, so it has this like mid-rangey, low feeling to it, even though it is playing high notes. So it just has this very smooth, ethereal sound to it. Listen for it here. Listen specifically for it. Hear that? That really cool. It's a really cool sound, and again, otherworldly. So yeah, we're just doing some cool shit here. We're doing some really cool shit on this song. And yeah, that kind of brings us back around. We get some really nice low like chugs, and it brings us back around into the chorus. Yeah, so we come back. The guitar is the exact same as the intro, but this time we have the drums playing over top of it. Again, shout out to the drummers, to the drummer. This beat is fantastic. All these little like fast snare hits. Right, yeah, like that right there. Super, super cool, man. Yeah, like I think that honestly, the drumming on this whole album is like top tier fucking drumming. It's unbelievable how busy he can make it while still giving it a ton of space and making it very open and groovy, and like you can jam to it. And yet he throws as much shit in there as he possibly can. It's actually like incredible that he's able to do all of that. I think the way he pulls it off is by having very sparse snare and kick, but then just keeping a lot of the busy work on like the toms and the cymbals, while still maintaining consistent cymbals so you can still groove and jam to it without doing it. So he doesn't do anything crazy or weird with the kick and the snare. He keeps those very consistent, but then everything else he's just busy. And he is busy with the snare at certain points, but that idea of like the snare being in a consistent place throughout the entire section, I think is like pivotal to keeping it as open as it is while still being able to be busy with all of the other drum elements. So yeah, I just love the drums all throughout this song in particular, but this album, they are just fantastic. I think it was Neurotica when he did that, you know, I'm talking, there's like this echo, he does like the cymbal echo. When I heard that, I was like, holy shit, this dude is a genius. Like, hold on, I think I skipped it. I think it's right here. Right here. No, I missed it. Fuck, sorry. It's here. That's crazy. That's crazy. And I did see a story where Tim was like, he heard him do that and he was like, you have to do that on the record. That is so cool. That's so fucking gnarly. Yeah, this drummer is nuts. You know, it's funny like how much attention Tim and Scott get, but holy shit, Clay, the drummer, I always get his name wrong. Ashleman, I think it is. Clay is a genius on the drums. You do not sleep on this guy. He's unbelievable. Okay, we're coming back to Chimera. We're not talking about Neurotica. Okay, Maybe I'll do Neurotica next if you guys like this episode. But anyway, so we on the chorus though, yeah, so we had the drums come in for this time for the second chorus, but we also get these really thick, chunky bass notes as well. Yeah, it's like a great mix of, again, the 808, the kick drum, and the bass guitar. Just boom. Listen, boom, 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 boom. Super heavy, super big. Yeah, love those notes. And again, it's like maintaining that dark sound, but we're building, like we're adding layers on, and we're still, I don't know. It's just a really cool sound. It's very like rap oriented, which may play into what happens later in the song. But yeah, it's very cool stuff. At the end of the chorus, of the second chorus, we get this kind of repetitive knocking sound, and then a couple chugs, and then we get what I would consider the best section of the song. So here, let's let the next verse play out. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, this is the best section of the song. It's essentially, it takes what they did in the first verse, which was already extremely interesting and innovative, and they just made like a more advanced, complex, brutal version of it that incorporates the whole band. So you got the basses playing with them. You have 2 guitar tracks this time. But something that's very noteworthy is that there's no harmonies or tricks with the guitars. It is just straightforward, brutal fucking riffage. Yeah, and I mean, same with the drums. The drums are more composed, and they're even busier on this verse than they were on the first. Overall, this section is fucking phenomenal. I mean, there isn't even really any production. I think that there's like, the last note glitches out, like at the very end of the note. That right there, which sounds fucking killer too, and it's such a good way to end that section. Considering again how like wild and crazy and like it's like controlled chaos, this whole section, and then to have it sort of like overload at the end before we go into the pre-chorus. Really cool idea for production, but honestly, that's it. There's no real production or crazy things on any of these notes. It is just like, if you ever just wanted to see, like, if you ever were in doubt that there was still creativity to be had within a rock band, like, this section is the fucking proof that there is. This section is so cool. There's a little bit of ambient sounds in the background, but for the most part, this is just bass, guitars, and drums. It's fucking awesome. It's so cool. Again, I can't go through the whole thing, but yeah, like the level of complexity here from like a rhythmic standpoint, a compositional standpoint, a melodic standpoint. I mean, just think about this melody, right? Like, what a wacky fucking melody. How do you even think of something like that? And that's the thing, right? It's like they had a vision, and this is new. This is like something that feels really fresh and new to me. And I hope that they go down this more with the new album. It seems like they are. But yeah, it is just, it's just so interesting in so many ways. Yeah, it's awesome. The only downside, my only complaint with this section is that it's only 20 seconds. Yeah. And unfortunately, they do have another heavy guitar section later in the song, but I don't think it quite delivers the way that this does, which is a bit of a shame, but we'll get to that when we get there. But yeah, overall, I mean, this section is phenomenal. This is phenomenal musicianship. The rhythms are crazy. They're still following that same chord progression, which is how they, the underlying theory in chord progression is what gives you your like tone, right? It gives you your, not tone as in guitar tone, but like tone as in the tone of the song, the weather if you want to call it that, right? But the way what they're playing, the way that they're playing it, and everything, it's just phenomenal. So, all right, I'm not gonna glaze it too much more. I would, but let's keep going. So we get a second pre-chorus. Okay, so that's basically the exact same thing as the first pre-chorus. So now, but then they repeat it, and I'm just gonna let that repeat play through. I love the way that they keep doing that. It's actually similar to Can You Feel It? You know, down. Wait, how's Can You Feel It go? I'm listening to this song so much that I'm forgetting how Can You Feel It sounds. Hold on, give me a second. It's bothering me. Yeah, down. So it's like a similar, kind of a similar thing going on there. Down. Yeah, I love that. Okay, so this second pre-chorus, or this repeated pre-chorus that we get here, guitar-wise, it's the same thing. The only real, and bass as well. The only real change that we get here is that the drums stop playing the fast notes on the hi-hat and switch over to what I believe are like eighth notes on the splash. And I think it's called the splash. I might be wrong. I'm not a drummer. It's like, maybe it's a China, maybe it's a splash. I don't know. If you know, let me know in the comments. I'd like to know for sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, listen for that. I'm going to call it the splash, even if it's not, but I do think that the splash is too loud here. I think it sticks out just a little bit too much. I understand what they were going for. They wanted this to really feel like a big buildup, like almost EDM inspired in some ways. They want that to stick out and to drive the section forward, but it does seem to poke out just a tiny bit. It's not egregious, but yeah, just a small thing. On top of that, I think that the complexity of the hi-hat sort of kept this section busy enough so that higher guitar part that's like 2 octaves up, the high guitar in the right ear, or right speaker, is, you know, I already commented on how I felt like it was just a little bit empty. But I do think that it worked when you had the busyness of the hi-hat, which the hi-hat is a higher pitched frequency thing. But when he switches over to the splash and those kind of on the splash, it does kind of, it accentuates to me how thin and like dry that high harmony on the guitar is. You know, again, I'm being super nitpicky here. I know. Overall, this shit kicks ass, but it is just something whenever I listen to the song, it's like, yeah, that guitar, that higher pitched guitar kind of sticks out a little bit. Like it seems to just be off in its own world, whereas the whole rest of the song is in this really dark, mid-rangey down, and then for like 2 seconds, it's like, okay, you know, it seems a little awkward, but again, super nitpick. Overall, this shit is awesome. So yeah, that's the only change with this pre-chorus though. Let's go to the third chorus now. Okay, so this is essentially the same thing as the last chorus, but now we get that back and forth synth that we were hearing in the pre-chorus. It comes back here and is layered in here. It sounds really cool. And then when they do it live, Scott actually plays this live. Sorry, I had a little brain freeze for a second there. So listen for that synth. Yeah, super cool. Again, this is a synth and it sounds really cool, but when they do it live, Scott plays this on the guitar and it just sounds fucking killer. Go watch their guitar playthrough of it. I think that, you know, on their YouTube channel, you can hear a lot of these elements mixed in way better, and it's just great. Yeah, I think it's a nice layer to add, and again, we keep building and building and adding stuff to this chorus, and it works really well. And then at the very end of the chorus, we get a little bit of like a glitch to the acoustic guitar, which is cool because it brings us into the next section. So listen to that. You know, really cool, like a, you know, what is it, like a bit distortion, bit driver, something like that. Bit crush. I think that's actually what it is, a bit crusher. Whether it is or not, it's a cool section, or it's a cool effect, and it brings us into the bridge. Okay, so let's stop there. So we come back to just having the 8-string guitars, but this time they have a clean tone, and it's a very clean tone. It's like a super wet with a lot of reverb, a lot of delay here. The guitars themselves are playing a pretty cool part if you know, from what you can hear. The problem is, and this is actually one of my biggest issues with this album as a whole, is that they use this clean tone all throughout the album. Not this specific one, but they use a clean tone throughout it, and they do things with the guitars that are just incredible, like some incredible guitar work all throughout this album with the clean tones. But then it was mixed, the way that this album was mixed, honest to God, just drowns out a lot of the work that they do. And I noticed this on a lot of songs, right? Like you can hear it on like the Audacity or Neurotica, a little bit of Reverie, even Playing God to a certain extent, like the second half of Playing God. A lot of those guitar parts are just totally mixed away. I don't know. To me, it's kind of bizarre because when you go and you listen to New Levels, New Devils, all the guitar parts are very, very easy to discern. I mean, they're clearly heard. And I know that on New Levels, New Devils, they had a slightly more overdriven tone, whereas this one, I think they're going for a smoother, clean tone, or nylon in the case of Playing God. But to me, it's like, I'm not knocking them necessarily. I'm actually complimenting them. I think that they have incredible guitar work, and it sucks when it's like completely inaudible. For example, like listen here to this part again, this bridge, and know that when the drums do like a little fill about halfway through, the guitars are playing shit with it, and it's like you can't hear it at all. Like that right there, that whole thing right there. Like you can't hear the guitars at all. It's kind of bizarre to me. It's like, and I say this as a guitarist who is a big fan of Polyphia, who has the tabs and learns a lot of these songs. I've seen them play live. I watch their playthroughs, and I'm like analyzing this song in a way that a lot of people aren't going to analyze it, and I still can't hear the fucking guitar part. It's like, if I can barely hear it with this level of analysis, how the hell, like what chance does an average listener have? So it's kind of bizarre. I don't know why they mixed it in this way, where it's like basically like they do all of this complex, incredibly ridiculous guitar work and then just mix it in such a way that you can't even hear it. You can't even appreciate it. So yeah, it's not a critique of the composition or even necessarily like the song. I mean, it is a bit of a critique on the song necessarily, kind of, but it's the mix, and it's a bizarre, like it's just a little bizarre. And I understand what they were going for with the hyper dry drums. They wanted this trap sound with their drums. But it's just a shame when some of the parts can't even be heard, especially when they're as good as they are. And you can go and hear them play it on the playthrough video, and it sounds great. So, but so anyway, that's my rant about like the problem I have with it. The main thing that I would say sticks out with the guitar are those little high notes that they're tapping, you know, dun, 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 dun. It's really cool. And again, the whole vibe of like a dark ethereal vibe, I think it fits it really well. It's a nice evolution of what we've had prior leading up to it. It actually does kind of bring the energy down in a way, but I think that's good because it works, because we're actually, you know, everything's about to cut out in the next section. And so it makes sense that like, okay, we're coming down just a little bit so that way we can ramp back up later on in the song, which is pretty cool. Aside from that, aside from guitars, bass and drums are doing cool stuff. I mean, the drums all throughout are really good. And then on the second half, the drums bring back that, you know, repetitive eighth note splash to build us up into the interlude. We also get that like riser synth, you know, slowly building. And those drums sound great there. I think that's a double snare hit and then a tom hit. Sorry. Yeah, and the way those are mixed is really cool. And then having the delay from the guitars kind of echo out, also really nice. Okay. All right, so we get this interlude, and at this point in the song, we've had a whole lot of crazy, otherworldly sounds. It's a very dark, spacey song. Spacey might not be the right word. I would use the word otherworldly, ethereal or otherworldly. This very crazy sound to this song, very dark, with a lot of complexity too. A lot of really intense complexity, but in a way that's very fluid, very appealing. Like you can vibe with it in a cool way. There's just a lot that's happened in this song so far. And so we get to the big interlude here. Everything cuts out and we get kind of this ambient drop synth, you know, boom, 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 playing these notes in the background. And then we hear a car start up. So I'm going to be honest, the car starts, it revs its engines kind of loosely with the same rhythm, you know, vroom, vroom, vroom. And then a guitar fades in and also plays those notes. Kind of a slow, gradual build with some additional synths coming in to lead us into the section after this. You know, like... which then the rapper comes in after this, but we're not there yet. So I'll be honest, when I first heard the car here, I was a little bit disappointed. I felt like this song had a lot going for it, like in terms of a cohesive sound, a cohesive theme. You know, that again, I would use the word otherworldly. Bringing in a car and like having it rev its engine and then like drive away and like skid. I think that it sounds very terrestrial. It sounds very earthly. And again, I've used that word otherworldly and ethereal on purpose. Well, I've used it because I think that's the accurate way to describe the first half of this song. So to me, bringing in something as terrestrial as a car, like a car revving its engine, felt a bit disappointing and completely out of whack with what this song was going for the entire first half. I was not quite sure why they did this. And on top of that, like revving your car engine on a song is a huge cliche. Like it's kind of a lame one too. It's just like, oh, look at you got a car. Like we can't even see the fucking car, right? And I know Tim's posted on his IG that he's got like a Lambo or something like that. I don't fucking know. I'm not interested in what car he has. I'm interested in the artistry of the song. And when you have something that, especially on the first half of the song, is so creative and so like, it's almost like tunnel vision in a good way, with like they had a vision for what they were going to make with this song, like this dark, heavy, you know, low vibe. And then they're like, let's bring in the car and rev the engine. It's like, you really just completely kill the vibe that they had. So then, you know, and honestly, it's just kind of superficial showboating. I mean, whatever. I'm not for it. I don't think it's good. It doesn't add anything to the artistry of the song. It's just like, ooh, look at you. You've got a car. Nice. So with all that said, yeah, I think that this does do damage to like the thematic consistency of the song. But with that said, I mean, okay, we're at this stage of the song. They brought in the car. So now it's time to see, well, where are they? We still have half the song to go, right? I mean, where are we at? Yeah, we're at 2 minutes, 30 seconds of a 4-minute song. So we got a good chunk of the song left. So maybe there's something that's going to recontextualize this or give us a different perspective. So yeah, in my mind at this stage, you know, especially even the very first time I heard it, I was like, why the fuck are they revving a car on this song of all songs? Like they should have revved a car on Fuck Around and Find Out, like not this. But let's keep going. Let's see where they take it. And then we'll see. We're not done. But at this stage, I think that this confused me a lot and it does not fit. Oh, let's back it up just a little bit.
Good girl in a costume. It's your world when I'm with you. Forever with you like a tattoo. I paint a picture in a bad mood. She feel the breeze like a parachute. I got cheese, get a pair of shoes. Big body need a lot of room. She keep calling when I'm never home.
Okay, so let's stop there. So the music doesn't really change too much throughout here. We just kind of get, you know, that same big ambient sound that we've got, that synth playing, as well as the guitar in the background just playing those lead notes as well. But it's very, very far in the background. The big thing here is that we get Lil West comes in with his rap verse. So we're going to talk about those lyrics and we're going to take a look at what he's doing. Now, with that said, I have something new if you're looking at the channel. So I built this over the weekend. Check this shit out. Bam! We have lyrics on the screen and they are tied to the various sections. So look, we can go to the next section and see the different lyrics on my song progress thing. I'm very proud of this. Really cool. So now you guys can follow along the lyrics with me. So you don't just have to take my word for it. All right. So with that said, all right, the fun's over. Time to talk about these lyrics. So he says, good girl in a costume. So, all right, again, we were in like crazy dark alien devil chimera territory. And now we're talking about a girl. Sorry, my dog just like burped. Okay. Anyway, okay. So he says, "Good girl in a costume." You know, I'm gonna do my best here to try and give some meaning to this. So he could be talking about like, okay, is she a bad girl? Or is she a good girl who is pretending to be bad? Or is he doing like that kind of kinky good girl thing and just telling her that she looks hot in whatever she's wearing that night? Probably a little mix of both, whatever. That's the possible interpretations that I'm going with. He says, it's your world when I'm with you. Hey, stop that. Go. Lord. He's just like grumbling and shit. There he is. Okay, sorry, I'm getting sidetracked by my dog making noises. He says, it's your world when I'm with you. All right, he's gonna give her the world. Forever with you like a tattoo. So first off, I wanna note, it's kind of, it just struck me that he says with you twice in a row. It's your world when I'm with you, forever with you like a tattoo. It's like, come on, man, like learn to speak, right? Like, what are we doing? Hold on one second. And just so you can hear it, like, I feel like it's one of those things that you almost don't notice, but.
Good girl in a costume. It's your world when I'm with you. Forever with you like a tattoo.
Does it glitch there? Is that just my speaker or is it like actually edited badly?
Forever with you like a tattoo. I paint a picture in a bed.
I think it was just me.
Forever with with you like a tattoo.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, yeah. So then he says, "Forever with you like a tattoo." Yeah, I think that that's like barely a bar. It's not even really a bar. It's just like, I guess technically it's a bar, but it's just lazy. It's like, I'm forever with you like a tattoo. Like, wow, that's really profound. And then he says, "I paint a picture in a bad mood." I don't know what the fuck this has to do with anything. Like, okay, she feel the breeze like a parachute. Obviously, he's referencing the breeze of the car ride, but I think using the word parachute is pretty stupid. Like, that's the best you could come up with, man. He says, I got cheese, get a pair of shoes." Huge fucking cliche, like rappers talking about their shoes and their money. Yeah, shoes are like a huge waste of money, dude. Why the fuck do it? Anyway, he says, "Big body need a lot of room." Again, I don't understand. Like, is he calling himself fat? Big body, I need a lot of room. Maybe he's talking about the girl's ass. I don't know. And then he says, she keep calling when I'm never home. So fine, his girl likes him and he's not there for her. Yeah, so I obviously you can tell, like, these are shitty lyrics. And I don't think that these are shitty from, like, I like to look at music overall as, like, you know, works of art that are going to be timeless. We're going to listen to them forever. People will listen to this music forever, right? So I think a lot of rap lyrics in general fail that bar or fail to meet that bar. They tend to be very culturally confined, if that makes sense. Like, they have to reference cultural norms, cultural lingo. And I'm not talking about like a specific culture of people. I'm talking about the entirety of our human culture, right? So rather than coming up with like timeless artistry, it's more of like, I'm gonna talk about my Benz, or I'm gonna talk about Gucci or brands and products and money. You know, to me, it's a very, like, overall, a lot of rap lyrics are subpar. And that's not to say all of them. I mean, you listen to songs by like Kendrick or Kanye, Eminem, Jay, timeless songs. Lots of great lyricism there in a lot of those songs that's timeless, right? But most rap lyrics fail to meet that bar. Rock typically does a little bit better because rock artists are maybe a little more melodramatic. So even when they're bad, they're at least trying to be serious or trying to be cool or be deep, even if it's not really working. Regardless of that, the point I'm getting at is that even from me being hypercritical about like the timelessness of the art, like, these lyrics are terrible from that perspective. But even within like the rap perspective of like, okay, well, does he at least have bars? Is he being clever? Does he have a good flow? Is his rhythm, like, is he being interesting with the way that he's rhyming his words? It's like, no, these are actually really shitty lyrics, even from a rap perspective. None of this is clever. In fact, it's just like fucking random. I paint a picture in a bad mood. She feel the breeze like a parachute. What the fuck are you talking about, man? What are we doing? And they don't even really seem to relate to each other. I mean, one minute he's talking about his girl. Next thing he's talking about his shoes. Next second he's talking about how he needs a lot of room. Because he's fat. I don't fucking know. It's just random. And so, yeah, I don't, I want to again note that the phrase other, or the word otherworldly that I used to describe the first half of this song, this feels unbelievably terrestrial, unbelievably like we have been taken completely out of like that vibe that we had for the whole first half, and we are in fairly mediocre rap territory. But hey, you know, it could always improve. So let's play the next section and let's see where we go.
I paint a picture.
Sorry, hold on.
She keep calling when I'm never home. I'll be what you need, low key on the ease. I can see everything that you went through. I'll be your tool like a fix you. Even if I lose, it be nothing new. She all lose to the whole school. It's my rules when I make moves. I make it rain like a monsoon. My new day can come soon.
All right, so we start to actually build up here. The drums come back in. We have the guitars doing really cool, interesting stuff, but they are completely buried in the mix. It's almost totally indecipherable. The only way that I think I would even be able to know exactly what they're playing is because I watched their guitar playthroughs and I've seen them play it live. So yeah, like I don't, and it's cool guitar stuff. Like what they're doing on the guitars here is really cool. You just can't really hear it. The main change here, and the drums aren't really doing anything super crazy. I mean, here, hold on, let me.
She keep calling on the ease, I can see everything that you went through. I'll be your tool like a fix you.
Yeah, it's just
Even if I lose, it'd be nothing new.
Just kind of dancing on the cymbals to build us up, because we're gonna hit the kick and the snare when we come back in for the next section, or for the what I would consider like the climax, right? So this is more of a build up, right? We're just building up to that third section, third rap section, which is gonna be the climax. So Lil West switches over to a more melodic tone. I'll be what you need, low key on the E's. I can see everything that you went through. So he's kind of doing that Drake sing rap singing thing. Why did I say it like that? He's doing the Drake rap singing thing. Got my words mixed up. Yeah. So he's smooth talking his girl basically here. So let's go through these lyrics. I'll be what you need, low key on the E's. I can see everything that you went through. So it's like, okay, right off the bat, what I want to say about this is like, there is something here with just these two lines, right? The idea here is that, okay, like, I'll be what you need and I can see what you're going through. So he's like empathizing with her. Just with these two lines alone, we have a story. We could go somewhere with this. Really cool. Let's see where he goes with it. So the next line is, I'll be your tool, I can fix you. So again, I don't understand, because he kind of said big body need a lot of room earlier. It's like he called himself fat and now he's calling himself a tool. I understand he's being clever. It's like a bar. I'll be a tool, I can fix you. I get it. Like tools fix things. And he's trying to fix the girl, which is never a good idea. But it's probably just not a good idea as well to call yourself a tool on your own song. It's just maybe don't do that. And this isn't really even clever either. So I don't even know if I would consider this a bar. This is barely a bar. Again, kind of like what was it? Forever with you like a tattoo. It's like, I'll be a tool, I can fix you. Like, okay, whatever. But then he says, even if I lose, it'd be nothing new. So again, it's like you're disparaging yourself. Like, why are you saying like, even if I lose, think about that line, right? Even if I lose, it'd be nothing new. What you're saying is it's not new for me to lose. It's nothing new. It's normal for me to lose. Why are you calling yourself a loser? Why are you saying this? And again, this is a type of thing I know everyone, it's like, don't think about it that hard. Just sing with the lyrics. But it's like, no, he chose these words. He didn't have to say this. So why did he, even if I lose, it'd be nothing new? Okay, loser, you're a tool, and you have called yourself big body, fat, a tool, and a loser. Why? I'm not saying that about him. He's saying that about him. What is going on? So then he says, she old news to the whole school. So I went over this line a few times because I was like, am I interpreting this wrong? And if I am, please leave a comment. But what it sounds like he's saying, she's old news to the whole school, is that he's saying his girl has been passed around and like by the whole school. Like the school isn't interested in her anymore. Like the implication is that she's been passed around. So what I'm gathering with these two lines is, even if I lose, I'll be your tool, I can fix you. Even if I lose, it'd be nothing new because she's old news to the whole school. So what he's saying is that if he doesn't get the girl, and I'm going to say, like, if he doesn't get the girl, like if he loses the girl, that'd be normal for him. So he doesn't get bitches. And the girl is a hoe anyway. Like she's old news to the whole school anyway. So I didn't even want her. And to be clear, I think that is what happens, because he ends this verse, like, spoiler alert, you can see it on the patented lyric sheet thing that I've got going on here. My new bae, can you come soon? So he's talking about trying to get a new girl after losing this one. So he's like, does this not sound like super insecure? Like, even if I lose, it'd be nothing new. And you're old news to the whole school, girl. Like, who gives a shit about you anymore? No one. It's like, what are we doing? What are we talking about? It just comes off as super insecure. And I just don't understand why this is the lyrical direction he decided to take. It's crazy to me. So then he starts yelling, like, because he switches from that melodic tone to kind of like yelling, which makes it, again, I don't know, think of it what you want, but here. Be nothing new. She old news to the whole school. It's my rules when I make moves. Like, it's like, it's my rules, man. I make it rain like a monsoon. Like it sounds like you're overcompensating. That's what I'm just gonna say. It sounds like you're overcompensating. So then he says, it's my rules when I make moves. Stupid bar. Stupid line. It's not even a bar. I make it rain like a monsoon. Again, stupid bar. That is a bar, unfortunately. And then he says, my new bae, can you come soon? So again, the story here, I want to bring us back to the first line where he says, I'll be what you need, low key, on the ease. I can see everything that you went through. So we have him empathizing with the girl. Like, I see what you've been through and I'll be what you need. We could have done something with that. Instead, the story that he decided to go with was he wanted to fix this girl. Terrible idea. You can't fix her. And then basically she rejects him. He lost. It's nothing new to him. He loses all the time. And who cares? Nobody cares about her anyway. You know, she's old news. And in fact, he's actually super awesome. He makes the rules. He makes it rain. And now he's asking for a new girl to come. He's like, my new bae, can you come soon, please? I need a new girl. So it's like, again, of all the potential storylines, of all the potential lyrics you could have had on a song like this, you know, listening to the first half, it's just mind-boggling to me that he went with, I'm a loser who can't get this girl and I'm trying to fix this girl. And, but I actually need a new girl or something. I make it rain like a monsoon. It's fucking ridiculous, man. And like, again, I don't know. It's crazy to me. It's crazy. So yeah, and again, from my perspective of like holistic songwriting, like all genres across all time, like the timelessness of artwork, these lyrics are terrible. But then even within the realm of rap lyrics, these aren't even like by the standard of like regular rap. If I just go by that, it's not good. Like, I make it rain like a monsoon is not a fucking bar, dude. Like, it's not a bar. And these lyrics are not like awesome lyrics. Like, just even within their own, you know, sort of rap bubble. So yeah, it's very weak, very, very weak so far at this stage. I mean, honestly, knowing that there's 3 sections and we're 2 sections through, I mean, it's almost unrecoverable at this point, but let's see. We've just gone off the total deep end in terms of lyrical, or in terms of like thematic quality and like consistency on this song. So let's listen to the next section real quick. Which is the climax, by the way. So this is like what we've been building to. The best ride. She said that she really wanna come out to the west side. If she coming with me, she can hit me with her best side. She can be my missus, give me kisses on her best side. Low key with me in the night. You want me, but it's never right. Hold me, I'm alive. You know me, cause I'm on a rise. Okay, so musically, this feels like it was supposed to be like the apex of what was built up in the first half of the song. The guitars are doing a lot of really cool, complicated stuff. They're playing higher notes than they were playing in the first half. So they're actually playing like, and they're doing guitar harmonies and things too. So it's a little bit more busy and intricate from like well, I wouldn't say intricate, but it's just, it feels like this is a natural progression from what was done in the first half. And that conceptually, when they were thinking about this song, they were like, yeah, this is going to be the big moment where everything kind of comes together. The trap drums, the rap vocals, the heavy 8-string low guitars, the 808s and all of that. Like, this is that big moment. Let's put a pin in that right now. And to be clear, like, the guitars and drums are awesome here. Like, they sound really good. But I want to put a pin in the music for a second because I want to come back to it after we go through the lyrics. So Lil West keeps singing, or he keeps rapping, and he says, the best thought was the best ride. Okay. Again, ghetto shit. It's just like ghetto sex line, right? Like, you're calling your girl a thought while also calling her the best ride. Like, okay, whatever. She said that she really want to come out to the west side. So this is easily the most clever lyric in the whole song, and that's unfortunately not saying much. It's only clever because his name is Lil West, and he's saying that she wants to come over to his side. He wants to come with him. Make of that what you will. And then he says, if she coming with me, she can hit me with her best side. Again, I don't need to explain what that means. So then he says, she can be my missus, give me kisses on my bedside. So let's just stop here for a second. Like, this is fucking trash, bro. Like, this is trash. She can be my missus, give me kisses on my bedside. Who the fuck is going to sing this? What the fuck is this? What a whack fucking lyric. Give me kisses on my bedside, baby. What man says this? Do you want her to tucky-wucky you into Betty Bye? What the fuck is this? Let's just move on. Low key when we end the night. Super generic. You want me, but it's never right. Super cliche. We love each other when we hate each other. I love you. You hate me. You love me. I hate you. Blah, blah, blah. We've heard that a million times. Hold me. I'm a low life. Okay. You know me because I'm on a rise. I don't even know what the fuck that means. You know me because I guess it's like popularity. You know me. I'm so popular because I'm on a rise. What a fucking way to end this song, man. You know me because I'm on a rise. Can you imagine being Polyphia and putting the unfathomable amount of work into this album and this song that you did, and you get low key when we end the night, you want me, but it's never right. Hold me, I'm a low life. You know me because I'm on a rise as the end, your climax. That's your climax for Chimera. Yeah, these lyrics are fucking terrible. And I'm not even trying to exaggerate. Like, I think they're actually some of the worst rap lyrics I've ever heard. Like genuinely, maybe not the worst I've ever heard, but they are actually like really bad lyrics, like really subpar rap lyrics. They are not it. They go nowhere. They are not cohesive at all. There isn't a single bar that I would actually consider good. I would say when he says, she said that she really want to come out to the west side is moderately clever. I don't think it's actually good or really clever. The lyrics aren't even particularly fun or entertaining. This is about as generic and cliche of a rap verse as you can get. He talks about his shoes, his money, his girl, calls the girl a thought. But then he does just completely bizarre shit here too. Like, I paint a picture in a bad mood. Like, okay, give me kisses. You can be my missus, give me kisses on my bedside. What the fuck even is that line? Holy shit. So yeah, I want to talk holistically now. We're basically at the end of the song, but I want to talk holistically about this climax. I feel like Polyphia wrote their instruments around the rap verse. I mean, it's pretty obvious that they did because they follow along with him throughout the whole thing, right? And like they are complementing what he's doing on the rap verse. But the problem is that what he decided to do was so bland and generic that despite this supposedly being the climax, these guitar parts and this section actually feels like a much more watered down version of the second verse and of what they had earlier on in the song. So just for comparison, listen to the second verse again and compare it directly to what the guitars and instruments are doing in the climax. Fucking nuts. Now listen to this.
Was the best ride. She said that she really wanna come out to the west side. If she coming with me, she can hit me with her best side. She can be my missus, give me kisses on her best side. Low key with me in the night. You want me, but there's no wrong.
Now again, it's good guitar playing, right? It's definitely good guitar playing. They're doing the guitar harmonies and it sounds cool. But I would say from a rhythmic perspective and even like a melodic and rhythmic perspective, it is nowhere close to as complicated as like the verses in the first half. It just isn't. And so this is a problem. Like this is actually a problem. Like Lil West has actually sort of undermined, not undermined, but like, well, yeah, I mean, he has kind of undermined the quality of this song by not delivering. And I don't understand, again, why he went with this direction. Like, if you look at the music video, right, he has all this otherworldly, like, prosthetics and makeup and shit on. Like, he understood what was going on with this song. Why he went with the most generic, bland fucking rap verse in the world, I have no idea. But the truth is that this isn't just on Lil West. This is also on Polyphia. They are the ones who ultimately determine what goes on their album, and they signed off on this. So this is why I wanted to talk about it holistically. I think Polyphia, from an instrumental perspective, have like unbelievable quality filters on their instrumentation. Meaning like they know what's good, they know what works and what doesn't, or at least they have an internal sense of what works and what doesn't. And it's pretty good because the shit they make is really, really good, right? The problem is that they're instrumental, which means they've made that quality filter that they have for the instruments. They haven't quite developed that, or maybe they have, I don't know. It doesn't seem like they have developed that for their vocals and lyrics, which to me is actually an issue across this whole album. It's not to say that they don't know how to write good lyrics or have good vocals on their songs, right? I mean, I think, what was it? So Strange. Was that the song with vocals on the last album? That was a pretty good one. And then, Look, Don't Touch had really good lyrics at the end, or vocals at the end. I think ABC and Bloodbath are pretty good. But the truth is, like Fuck Around and Find Out, Memento Mori, and this song in particular are pretty bad from a vocal standpoint. And I'm not going to get into Memento Mori and Fuck Around and Find Out, but this song in particular, it sounds like they had a vision of like this mix of styles and mix of genres where but they're going to push each genre to like the limits of its creativity, right? And incorporate it all into one cohesive thing. And so then they had the first half written and they said, yeah, we're going to bring a rapper on for the second half, which is going to be totally unexpected, totally crazy. But then we're just going to really it's going to be this awesome epic climax. And the problem is that Lil West did not deliver. He actually severely under-delivered, which undermines the guitar parts that they wrote, because again, I think that they are worse guitar parts than the guitar parts we get on the first half of the song, because they're having to follow along with a more generic melody that Lil West is singing, which makes it so that, to me, the second half of this song is nowhere close to as good as the first half. And on top of that, because of the lyrics that he has, he's actually sort of, I would even just say destroyed the theme. We at least had like a musical theme of a chimera, right? Like mixing things together that shouldn't be mixed, and what kind of unholy abomination would that create, And that's, that can be a musical theme for a song. And if the song was all instrumental, that is what you could consider it. And he could have talked about that, by the way. He could talk about like what happens when things that aren't supposed to go together mix. He could have even made it a fucking love song if he wanted to. But instead he talked about just the most generic, bland rap crap that you can hear. And unfortunately, those are the lyrics for this song. You can't just disregard them. So yeah, ultimately Chimera, for the most part, is about a fucking dude losing his girl and trying to get a new girl or something, kind of. That's the most you can say about like the theme and lyrics of Chimera. And so with all of this said, like, and I think, again, you got similar things on Memento Mori and Fuck Around and Find Out. And then also, I know that there was a song that they had to delete from the album last minute because of like controversy. So because of all this, right, because Polyphia, I think, have extraordinarily high standards of quality for the music that they make, and bringing in all of these singers was probably a disaster because they all have different metrics of quality. They all have different ideas of what's good or bad, what works and what doesn't, or even just different comprehensions of theme and song cohesion, or no cohesion or whatever, right? Because of all this, it didn't surprise me one bit when they said that there are no features on the new album, on the upcoming album. This is, I think that they had a vision of Remember That You Will Die, but you know, it's kind of the problem when you bring in 5 new singers, because I think, yeah, what is it? Yeah, they had, I think they originally had 6 singers, because I think All Falls Apart was supposed to have a singer on it, but then it got changed. So originally 6 other musicians and singers in to work on the vocals for your songs. You're getting 6 different, completely different thematic perspectives or quality perspectives. And you don't know who these people are and you don't know what their personalities are like. It's kind of one of the benefits of having a singer in your band, is that it's someone that you know, someone you can trust, and someone who is ideally on the same page as you as far as like the themes and the creative process goes for songwriting. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me one fucking bit that they dealt with this shit for this album and said, yeah, we're not doing that again. And the new album has no features on it. You know, I think it's got like RJ Payson and Spiro doing a couple of doing some like production work and all, but yeah, the good move on them. No fucking features. Like, this shit is ridiculous. I don't think it's an understatement or like me being hyperbolic by saying that Lil West kind of fucks this song up big time. It severely hampers the climax and undermines the like musical theme that they had for this song. So yeah, it's a shame. And I know I'm really harping on this, but it is disappointing. It makes for a very disappointing second half to this song, especially considering how like awesome and interesting the first half was. So yeah, that's it. That's my thoughts on the rap stuff. Let's finish this song out with the outro. I'm gonna let it play. Almost there. All right, there we go. We did it. We finished the song. Yeah, so we, shit, sorry. Okay, so we get some guitar harmonies here. I think that, or not I think, I'm pretty sure these are the same guitar harmonies that we heard in the second rap section, the build up to the climax. Just unfiltered, like you can actually clearly hear them. Excuse me, sorry. So they start off playing the same thing. This is like a really cool effect, by the way. Like when you start off, you have 2 guitar parts playing the exact same thing at first. So it almost just sounds like one guitar, but then they split off into harmonies. So it sounds like it's in the center and then it immediately splits off to the sides. It's very cool. Yeah, that little split there. Very cool. With that said, I think that this is a pretty like normal guitar run. Like this isn't like a crazy, insane guitar harmony section. And I would actually even say that it sounds a little sloppy. Which section is it? Yeah, like those little fast sections, they just sound not quite lined up with each other, which is very unusual for Polyphia, for Tim and Scott. Like that's again, very, very unusual. They are typically perfect. So part of me even wonders if they had to like change this outro or rush the section for some reason, or like rush it and record it or something. I don't know. It's very bizarre that it isn't like perfect though. And maybe it's just me, maybe I'm just hearing things, but I swear it just sounds like they're not quite aligned. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's the way it's mixed, but it just sounds a little sloppier than their usual stuff. Regardless, the guitars fade out and we get this like droning sound, which honestly, I think it goes on just a little bit too long, but that's how the song ends. And that's it. That's the song. We made it. So yeah, overall though, with this song, it's a very, very cool song. And I think that the first half, especially those verses, are like some of the most innovative shit I've heard in a long time. And I actually think that they recognize it, and it's probably going to be a big influence on the next album, or I'm hoping it is. And based on Can You Feel It, it seems like it will be. Unfortunately, by bringing in Lil West, they really hampered the quality of this song, and especially from like a thematic perspective, because he does kind of neuter their climax. And again, these, like, you can say, well, that's just Lil West, who cares about that? But no, like, Polyphia signed off on this. This is a Polyphia song, and those are the lyrics on this song. And so ultimately, this really awesome, ethereal, otherworldly, dark, chaotic song about like mixing things together in ways that should not be mixed, but still making it work. The theme of the song, based on the lyrics, is my girl left me and now I want a new girl. My new bae, can you come soon? I make it rain like a monsoon. That's the theme. And so it's a bit of a disappointment in that sense. And I think I think the broader point I wanted to make about this is like, that is kind of indicative of like a problem with the album as well. Because what's funny is if you look at the album, right, like the first 4 songs and the last 4 songs, like the first act and the third act of Remember That You Will Die, are excellent. Like unbelievably good. Playing God, Reverie, Audacity, Ego Death, Neurotica, Bloodbath. Like, I mean, excellent fucking songs. And then the middle half, it just feels like it's been hollowed out. Like, that's where your meat and potatoes are supposed to be, is the middle of the album. And because of, you know, ABC is probably the best. It's not only probably the best song in the second act, but it's also probably like the most substantial song too, because I think Memento Mori leaves a lot to be desired. Fuck Around and Find Out is barely a song, and All Falls Apart is really just an interlude. And that's your middle 4 songs on the album. That's your bulk of the album. That's like your meat and potatoes, the middle of your album. So yeah, what I'm getting at is like, I think that Polyphia, it was very cool that they decided to take this risk with all these different genres and styles, and bringing in lots of other collaborators and lyricists and musicians and incorporating that into their music. Unfortunately, I don't think it quite worked out in their benefit in a lot of ways. And most substantially, it was probably a learning lesson for them that other people don't take music the same way, and they don't have the same levels of quality that they do. And not even talking about like maybe one of the songs having a controversy, or one of the singers having a controversy and the song having to get removed. You know, listening to something like Memento Mori or Fafo, it's like, what the fuck happened here, guys? I mean, what happened here? It'd be different if they were just excellent, amazing instrumentals, but even the instrumentals are a little bit But anyway, the point I'm making is like, you got to be careful when you bring new people in and you make them such an important part of your sound for your, or of your song, right? Is because they could come in and they could just mess it up. And I think that this song is kind of a learning lesson for it, because he really did do damage to this song. Compare that to a song like Playing God, which I think has all of the technical, musical elements that are great, But there is actually like a thematic through line with playing God, this idea of like doing, you know, incredible godly things, almost like it's nothing, like whimsical, right? Like you're just playing, toying around with godlike powers, right? And that's kind of what that song represents from a, you know, from like a musical perspective, is this idea of doing masterful things effortlessly. So there is a, you know, that would be what I would consider like the musical through line in playing God, and it nails it because that song is like damn near impossible to play. But this song, I think, took a lot of damage, and I think that that's why this song probably wouldn't have been a good lead single. That's what I'm kind of getting at here. So yeah, anyway, that's my overall thoughts though. I like it. So let me do I have a little end of the show thing that I go through, and then we can close out the episode. So the purpose of this song to me was to create an unorthodox mix of flamenco, trap, math rock, metal, and rap, and mesh it all into like a dark, moody song in a way that actually feels cohesive and works. That was the goal here, I think. Very creative, very ambitious goal, to be fair. Genre style, so the genre of this song is kind of all the things that I just listed. It's like a mix of flamenco, metal, trap, math rock, and rap. It's just a crazy mix of genres here. From a structural standpoint, it's a pretty unique structure. The first half is maybe a little bit more normal, with like being chorus, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, verse, pre-chorus, chorus. But then we get like a bridge, an interlude, and then these kind of three separate rap sections that build up to the third one being like a climax, which is a pretty cool way to structure a song, right? You know, you have your main sections at the beginning, and then you have the whole rest of the song is this slow build up to this really big, epic, climactic section towards the end. So yeah, it's a pretty unique structure in that regard. And then the outro is just like a fade out with guitar harmonies. From a compositional standpoint, so I do think that this song is, honest to God, one of the most unique and impressive compositions Polyphia's ever put out. I think that these verses, especially the first half, the verses are just incredible on like every level from the whole band. You know, like listening to verse 2, it's just unbelievable to think that like, yeah, this is just a band. Like that you could hear like your high school band play this if you could play it. Like you see what I mean? Like it's so, what an incredible composition that is. As good as those verses are, the chorus and the bridge and even that climax section with Lil West are all really great too. They're really good. The main riff is a very, you know, one of their most covered riffs from what I can tell, you know, everyone's playing that shit, right? So yeah, it's pretty cool. I do think the outro of the song on a musical level is a little weak and even sounds a little sloppy. And then, but it still works. And then you have Lil West, who I think honestly just didn't deliver at all from a compositional standpoint. We'll talk about the lyrics in a second. His flow and his melodies are extremely generic, like unbelievably generic, very lame. And I think that especially on that third section, his melody, I feel like they actually had to dumb down their guitar parts and their instrumentation to follow along with, in terms of following along with his melody, because his melody was so much simpler compared to the first two verses. Like if I had been the rapper on this thing, which I'm not a rapper, but if I had been the rapper, my first thought would have been to go to the first half of the song, listen to those verses and kind of map out some of the rhythmic things that they're doing and incorporate that into the verse that I did. So that way they could maintain some level of like quality, like have a through line in terms of the quality, right? But whatever. So anyway, regardless of Lil West, I do think that this song is great from a compositional standpoint. Mix wise, I think that this song is mixed really well, especially considering how experimental it is. The only gripe I would have is that there are a lot of sections where the guitars become almost inaudible. Whether it's the bridge where the drums are just very in your face and the guitars are super hyper clean and just get totally lost underneath the drums, or the build up into the rap verse, or the second rap verse section where we're building up to the climax. The guitars are super filtered and way in the background. And then even the climax, I think the guitars sound a little quiet. I think they could have been, they obviously would have turned them down a little bit to make room for Lil West, but I think they could have boosted them just a little bit. But yeah, overall though, considering how complex this song is in terms of genre and style, I think the mix is pretty good. The lyrical content here, honestly, it's just a whole bunch of nothing. It's just ambiguous nods towards like trying and failing to get a girl, generic rap lines about his money and his shoes, and then some lines that just feel totally fucking out of place, like, you know, she feel the breeze like a parachute. I paint a picture in a bad mood. That line to me is so ridiculous. And then to cap it all off, he says, you know, you can be my missus, give me kisses on my bedside. That is terrible. Terrible work here. So yeah, the lyrics are trash. Thematically, unfortunately, this song, I think it had a vision from like a musical standpoint, but you can't just so like musically, I think there was a theme here of bringing everything together. Unfortunately, when you're talking about the theme of a song, you can't just discount the lyrics. And I think that the lyrics, you know, I think, so let me maybe rephrase this. I think when you look at the song title, you look at the idea of bringing these elements together. What am I trying to say here? What I'm saying is that unfortunately, this musical through line of like bringing these elements together is really just kind of a surface level idea. When you think about like, okay, the name of the song is a chimera, which just brings things together. You then bring in like the car revving, right? Like the vroom vroom, and then having like super shallow fucking rap lyrics that really mean nothing. Ultimately, what I think it happens with this song is that the theme or the idea is simply just the aesthetic of bringing elements together. So whereas they could have done something with it, you know, if you looked at just the first half of the song, you know, could have had this through line of like an unholy abomination that actually manages to be quite amazing and cool. I think what I'm saying is that rather than them taking the idea of bringing these elements together and meshing them in a way that is really satisfying and then giving a reason or a purpose or a proper theme to this combination, it's more of we're just going to stick these things together, and that's going to be the big thing here. That's all that matters here. And unfortunately, that's not quite enough. That's not quite as satisfying of a theme as like there actually being something to think about, right? I think a good example of this would be like maybe if you look at The Unforgiven by Metallica, right? So they bring in the acoustic guitar, they have the clean chorus, they have the heavy verses, and then they have like the melodic guitar solo, right? So there's a couple different elements that they're bringing together on that song. And yet it wasn't just about bringing those elements together. There's actually like a purpose behind, you know, what they were doing with that. They had a story to tell, and they brought those elements together to serve that story. Whereas this song, the purpose of the song seems to just be, it'd be really cool to bring this stuff together. And that is cool. Let me be clear. The song is very, very cool, but that is not a super compelling theme. Like, cool is not a compelling theme. And I know that might be controversial. Sometimes shit's cool and it's cool to just do something cool, but once it wears off that it's just cool, it's just a bit shallow. Like, something just being cool tends to be a little bit shallow. And so anyway, that's what I'm saying is I think thematically this song unfortunately turns out to be just a tiny bit shallow, but it is very, very cool. So that kind of brings me to my final verdict on the song. Here we go. I really do like this song. I really think this song is super awesome. The verses are unbelievably innovative from like a compositional rock band perspective. And I'm excited and hopeful that they dive into that style more on the next album. Unfortunately, I don't think the song has too much going for it beyond just being a cool combination of genres. The rap verse was a huge letdown, especially considering how long it is and how much potential he had. It was just a massive letdown. So yeah, I think, again, aesthetically, extremely cool, compositionally, extremely cool, extremely innovative, really great, but kind of empty from a thematic perspective. That's it. So there we go. We did it. Another one bites the dust. Cool. Well, I hope that y'all enjoyed this one. Let me know what you think. I love Remember That You Will Die, and I'm trying to get a couple reps in. I'm not trying to just do a whole bunch of Polyphia songs for no reason. I'm trying to get some reps in analyzing instrumentals before the new Polyphia album comes out, because I do want to talk about some songs from that album because I'm extremely excited for it. I'm a guitarist myself. I love what Polyphia are doing. I think they're super cool. So yeah, and if there's another song that you want me to do from this album, let me know. I'll probably do Playing God at some point. But I'll let you know. It'll happen when it happens, right? But hope you enjoyed, and yeah. See you on the next one. Peace.